Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Temple Beth Israel on this beautiful morning. And it's so wonderful to see you all here on this Shabbat morning and not somewhere else you've been encouraged to go. That's it. That's all I'm saying about what's happening today. So I'd like to welcome you, if you're joining us through our worldwide web, through our live streaming, we welcome you wherever you may be. And to welcome you who've joined us today for whether it's for a yahrzeit or a special simcha that we're celebrating, or as we are here to celebrate as a young woman, Lauren becomes a bat mitzvah. Lauren, I'd like to invite you onto the bima with your mum and dad as they present you with your talit.
Wonderful times of happiness and gives you comfort in times of sadness and challenges. And it is an absolute privilege to present your talent.
Amen. And friends, we continue in our service. We're on page 194 with Asher Yatzah, the blessing for our bodies. Hopefully you received a blue book, a Siddur, on your way in. And in that book you'll be able to follow along with the service.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatza et hadam b'chokhmah, uvara vo nekavim nekavim halolim halolim. Galui v'yadua lifnei chisei chamodecha, she'im yipatech echad mehem, o yisaten echad mehem, I efshar lehitkayem, v'la'amod lefanecha.
Baruch atah Adonai, Rokecho basar, u'mafri la'asot.
We turn forward one page to 196 for Elohai.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai
זוקף כפופים.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, roka haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzarei gaber.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'arev koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hameir shenai me'inai, utnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bachorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozei Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, otei Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher קידשנו במצוותיו, וציוונו לעשות בדברי תורה.
O eternal our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants, and the descendants of all your people Israel may know you, by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who teaches Torah to your people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah le'amo Yisrael.
Page 206, Elu Devarim.
אלו דברים שלהם שיעור, אלו דברים שלהם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו אין. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו עיבוד אבאים וגמילות חסדים והשכמת בית המדרש שחרית וערבית. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הן בהכנסת אורחים וביקור כלים, בהכנסת כלה ולוויה. אמן. ועיון תפילה, ועיון תפילה, ואהבת שלום בין אדם לחברו. תלמוד תורה כנגד כולם, תלמוד תורה כנגד כולם, תלמוד תורה כנגד כולם. אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, אלו דברים שאין להם שיעור, ואלו הן.
We turn forward to Pesukei de Zimra on page 212. We've just closed our Birkat HaShachar, our morning blessings, and continue with verses of praise. Page 212.
Baruch Shema Behaya Haolam.
Baruch Hu.
Baruch Oseh Bereshit.
Baruch Omer Ve'oseh.
Baruch Ozer Mekayem.
Baruch Merachem al haaretz.
Baruch Merachem HaBriot.
Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov Lireha.
Baruch Ha'elad V'Kayam LaNetzach.
Baruch
ברוכות וזמירות נגדל לך, ונשבחך ונפארך ונזכיר שמך ונמליכך מלכנו אלוהינו. יחיד חי העולמים מלך משובח ומפאר עד שמו הגדול. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מהולל ותשבחו. Psalm 92 on page 214.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
להגיד בבוקר הסתך,
באמונתך בלילות, עלי אסור עלינה, עלי היגיון בחינות. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך אדוני. מה גדול מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. איש פער לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין זאת. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. צדיק אתה יברח, כארץ בלבנון, בלבנון יזכה.
שתו
לי בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהים, יבריחו
עלילות ושבע, לשמן ורעננים,
ישר אדוני, תורי ולא
On the facing page, we continue with Ashrei, which includes Psalm 145.
אשרי אשרי ביתך, עוד הללו הסלע.
אשרי העם שקרא לו, אשרי העם שאדוני אלוהיו.
תהילה לדוד, ארממך אל חי המלך, בעברך שמך לעולם ועד.
בכל יום אברכך, הללה שמך לעולם ועד.
גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, ולגדולתו אין הכר.
תולדו ישבח מעשיך, וגבורתך יגידו.
אתה כבוד הודיך, ודברי נפלותיך עשיך.
ועזוז דרכך יאמרו, וגדולתך אספרנה.
זכר רב טובך יביעו, וצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדול חסד.
טוב אדוני לכל, ברכה על כל מעשיו.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך, וחסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני האדם גבורותיו, וכבוד האדם מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
הנה כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן לכם את אוכלם בעיתם.
פותח את ידיך, ומסביר לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לחוקריו, לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון רעב יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל רשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידר בפי, ויברך כל בשר שם קדשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. הללויה.
Yishtabach on page 223. Yishtabach Shimcha Lad Malkeinu, Hayel Hamelach HaGadol VaHaKadosh VaShamayim VaAretz. Hilachana Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Shirish V'cha, Halal v'Zimra, Ozo Memshula, Netzech v'Dula Gura, Tehila v'Tiferet v'Shal Malchut, Barachot v'Hodaot, Me'ata v'Ad Olam. Baruch Atah Adonai, El Melech Gadol v'Tishbachot, El HaOdaot, Adon HaNiflaot, Habocher b'Shirei Zimra, Melech Elchei HaOlamim. Let's rise for the Chatzik Kaddish on page 224.
Yitkada ve'yitkada Shemei Rabbah. Amen. Ve'amad v'chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei v'chayakon v'yamechon v'chayirko beit Yisrael. Agala, hu yizmakai. Amen. Yesh
continue on page 228. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvrei choshen, oseh shalom uvrei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha b'rachamim, uv'tuvam achadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chokhma asita, mal'a ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al sheva ma'aseh yadecha, ba'al ma'orei v'asher asita, yifarucha selah. Or Hadash al Sion Ta'ir, v'nizkeh kulanu meheret la'orot. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'ma'orot. We continue in the middle of page 231. Love your neighbor as yourself, he said, and light blinded, we saw that inner and outer worlds are one, as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us as we climbed, fell back and climbed again, your Sinai of life.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'amo Yisrael, v'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Baruch Shem kivod malachuto leolam va'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אני מצווך היום על לבבך, ושננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ובטפתם על מזוזות ביתך ומשעריך. ויאמר אדוני למשה לאמור, דבר לבני ישראל ואתה להם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורתם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף לתל תכלת, והיה לכם ציצית וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם תולים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on the top of page 239. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness there is your word. Emet, the pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame. Stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is the Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established, now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all of Israel, we sing out and rejoice.
Our Song of Freedom, Mikamolka, page 240.
מי כמוך באים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בחורש, נורתי לו עושה מלך, נורתי לו עושה מלך, שירה חדשה שבחו גאולים, לשמחה לשמחה Gal Israel.
Amen. On page 242 begins the Amidah, which is the central part of the morning prayers when it comes to the prayers, and separate, of course, to the Torah reading. And it is our custom here that we recite the first three blessings out loud together, standing if we are able, and then we'll continue seated together. Page 242.
Adonai Shacharit Yiftach Uvi Yagid Tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu v'Imateinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, Ezochei Hasleavot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geulah לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר משיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מקיים מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל, מקלקל חיים בחסד, מקיים מתים ברחמים רבים, סולח נופלים ורופא עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצליח ישועה, ונאמנתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוכו הארץ, כבודו, אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, אדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני מקומות. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני קומי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהים
Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day on this day. Shabbat, abide. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. And our prayer is service on the next page. V'tzei Adonai Eloheinu b'amachai Yisrael, v'tefilatam b'hava tekabel, tzli l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. El karov l'chol korav, pnei levadecha v'chonenu, shefo kochucha aleinu. V'techazene enenu b'shuvacha l'tzion b'rachamim baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato l'tzion. And a prayer of thanksgiving on page 257. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations. Modim anachnulah. For this fragile planet Earth and its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons. Modim anachnulah. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression, for high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared, Modem Anachnu La, for all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom, Modem Anachnu La, for human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose, Modem Anachnu La. We pray that we may live not by our fears but by our hopes, not by our words but by our deeds. Blessed are you, Eternal One. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lahodot. Song of Peace, Sim Shalom, on page 258. Let us take a few moments for silent prayer. My friends, we turn now to Seder Kriyat Torah, the Shabbat, the order for reading Torah on this Shabbat. We're on page 362, 362.
You shall not swear falsely by the name Adonai your God. Zachor et Yom HaShabbat Lakadsho. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. Honor your father and your mother. Lo tirsach. Lo tirsach, you shall not murder. Lo tignot, you shall not commit adultery. Lo ta'anev, you shall not steal. Lo ta'anev v'vareach et shaker, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Lo tachmod, you shall not covet.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Adon Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Yaakov Adonai Iti, בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה, והאמיץ נעשה, לכל לראש, לך אדוני הגדולה, והגבורה והתפארת, והנצח וההוד, יכל בשמיים, בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה, והאמיץ נעשה, לכל לראש. רוממו, רוממו, אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו, והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו, רוממו, אדוני אלוהינו, והשתחוו, והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. Please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. Our parsha of the Shabbat is Bahar, and it's often a double parsha double Torah portion, when Jewish holidays tend to fall on a Shabbat, so we lose a day. So it's often connected with next week's parsha, Bechukotai, Bahar Bechukotai. But regardless of with the Torah portion right now, as you've heard me say over the last few Shabbatot, over the last few weeks since Pesach, we are out of sync with the diaspora Jewish world, but we're in sync with Israel, because being progressive, like many progressive communities, we follow the Israel calendar. For example, we only keep 7 days of Pesach, not 8 days of Pesach. We keep 1 day of Shavuot, not 2 days of Shavuot of the festival. So that's just a little example as to why we're out of sync. But regardless of that, because we're doing Bahar this morning, we're not connected with the Chukotai next week because of the way the holidays fall. We are, and you'll hear a little bit more about the Torah portion from Lauren later, but if you'd like to follow along with the Torah reading, you should find a Chumash, a Torah commentary underneath your seat. They're scattered throughout the congregation. And we are on Leviticus chapter 25. Leviticus chapter 25, page 948, and our cantor Michelle, he will guide us through the exact positioning, line number, position number, all of that with the Hebrew. And for our first Aliyah, we call to Torah for a very special birthday.
So for the first Aliyah, we invite Peter to lane for us and Judy to come to Torah. Tamod Yudit Vadavam, Regional Aliyah La Torah. As Kim said, we are on page 948, right-hand column, fourth line from the bottom, last word on that line. I'll say that again. 948, right-hand column, fourth line from the bottom, last word on the line. Peter, if you could point to where we begin.
Baruch et Adonai HaMavorach.
Baruch Adonai Morach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Morach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Baruch Banu Mikol Ha'amim Ve'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Amen.
ואיש כי ימכור בית מושב יקומה והייתה גאולתו התום שנד ממכרו ימים תהיה גאולתו ואם לא יגאל על מלוד לו שנת תמימה וקם הבית אשר בעיר אשר לא חומה לצמיתות וקונה אותו ותורתם לא יצא ביובל ובתי הצבים אשר אין לכם חומה סביב על שדה הארץ ויחשב גאולה תהיה לו וביובל יצא וערי הלוויים בתי ערי אחוזתה גאולת עולם ייתן לוויים ואשר יגאל מן הלוויים יצא ממכר בית ועיר אחוזתם ביובל כי בתי ערי הלוויים כי אחוזתם בתוך בני ישראל ושדה מגרש עריהם לא ימכר כי אחוזת עולם הוא להם.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נתן בך. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Mishabarach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah. May the God of our ancestors bless you, Judy, as you call to Torah in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat, and in honor of a special birthday that you are celebrating at this time. Can I share with the congregation? It has the numbers 7 and 0. You pick the order. And we are delighted that you are choosing to celebrate with us, and that you're choosing to celebrate with your congregation, with your community, with family in the congregation as well. And I want to also take a moment, and I'm going to do a plug. Judy and I have been working very closely together on creating bringing a program that is housed at King David and creating another version here at Temple Beth Israel, Click and Connect. And that comes from your passion to help people, and to, especially at this point, this Click and Connect will be helping Israeli children, whether they're Jewish or Christian or Muslim, whether they're religious or secular or Bedouin, helping them improve their English. And it's 1 hour a fortnight that we're asking people to volunteer to Zoom and Skype. You don't have to go to Israel. But Judy, that speaks to your passion for really helping people, helping children, your love of Israel and your love of community, and that all comes together. May be blessed with so many wonderful things, because you are truly blessed with the work of your hands. With God's blessing, we say Mazel Tov and Amen.
Amen. For our second Aliyah, we invite Devorah to come and read for us, and Nili and Devorah to the Aliyah. Yamdu, Tamdu, Nili bat Joshan ve'Avraham, ve'Devorah bat Sarah ve'Dor, Shnim la'Aliyah la'Torah. You will find us on page 948, left-hand column, second line from the bottom, fourth word in. Left-hand column, second line from the bottom, fourth word in. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
אחי ימוך אחיך, ומטה ידו עמך, והחזקת בו, גר ותושב, וחי עמך, אל תיקח מאיתו נשך בתרבית, ויראת מאלוהיך. וחי אחיך עמך, את כספך לא תיתן לו בנשך, ובמרבית לא תיתן אוכלך. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, לתת לכם את ארץ כנען, להיות לכם לאלוהים.
Sounds like Hebrew.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Shabbat Chatmatenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah. May the God of our ancestors bless you, Devorah, and Nearly as you call to Torah, in honor of Torah, in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat, nearly in honor of your 80th birthday, which you already celebrated with your Chatan, your groom over there, as well as your 60th anniversary. But you've come here for a different reason today. Yes, to celebrate your birthday, but to celebrate with a friend who's also turning the same age as you. We never say how old people are. But this is special for you, Devorah, because it's the first time that you have ever been called to Torah, and it's the first time in your 80 years of life that you have ever read Torah. So in a way today, not in a way, today is your bat mitzvah. And it's with such joy that we're able to celebrate this moment that you could read from Torah. As you know, you've held Torah close to your heart your entire life. And to be here supported with my friends, to have a community behind you, to make this moment even more special if that is possible, to make it a true moment of Kedusha, of holiness. May this be the first of many times of being called to Torah, of reading Torah, our people's most treasured possession. May the two of you only go from strength to strength, chazak, chazak. And we're going to end with sharing a Shechianu that the cantor will share with us.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. מזל טוב. As is our tradition, we do move from celebration to moment of memory. If you are here today at a period of Shiva, Shloshim, or the yahrzeit of a loved one, then this aliyah is for you. Please come forward at this time. And Rhonda will lane for us. We are at verse 39 and onwards, which you will find on page 949, right-hand column, fifth line down, third word in 949, right-hand column, fifth line down, third word in. Just point to just one more. Second one. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Vaed. Amen.
וימוך אחיך עמך ונמחה לך, לא תעבוד בו עבודת עבד, כשכיר כתושב יהיה עמך, עד שנת היובל יעבוד עמך, ויצא ועמך ובניו עמו, ושב אל משפחתו, ואל אחוזת אבותיי ישוב. כי עבדיי הם אשר הוצאתי אותם מארץ מצרים, לא ימכרו ממכרת עבד, לא תרדה בו לפרך ויראת מאלוהיך.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך
Yitzhak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah, Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the God of our ancestors bless you as you're called to Torah, in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat, and in honor of the loved ones you hold in your hearts at this time. For some of you, your mourning is really, it's a week old since you buried a husband and since you buried a father. And for some of you, your mourning is a little bit longer. It could be years, it could be decades. But the grief that you feel in your heart is something that is very much present. As you think back and you think of the memories of your loved ones, the things in their lives that gave you most joys, those moments, perhaps it's even the smell of a perfume or aftershave or seeing a color. Those are the moments that really bring them to our minds, and maybe it's even a saying. May these memories truly bring blessing to your lives, and may their memories truly be sweet, as we wish you not just a long life, but a good life, and we say Amen. So over the last few months and in preparation of becoming a bat mitzvah, Lauren has spent some time working on her drush. Drush is a word that explains what the Torah portion is about, what this particular parasha, Bahar, not just means, but specifically means to her. So Lauren, I'm going to hand over the beamer to you.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. My parasha is Parasha Bahar. It is about how every seventh or sabbatical year, the land and crops were given a complete rest. That meant you couldn't plant seeds, water your garden, or harvest anything. Basically, you had to leave it completely alone. Every 50th or Jubilee year, it was the same deal, except slaves were set free and you had to give your land and house back to the original owners. But in these years, you might be asking, how did you get food? You couldn't just pop down to local Coles or Woolies to get the weekly shop back then. Instead, God promised to make the crops in the 6th year so good, it could feed a family for the 7th and the 8th year. People could also get what grew naturally. So, in a nutshell, the land had to rest for an entire year, which sounds pretty boring. But in fact, resting the land is really important. The Israelites back then rested the land to have a closer relationship to God, but we now do it for a completely different reason. It's called crop rotation, and it positively affects the land by stopping erosion, making the soil stable, and getting rid of pests. How does this relate to us though? Well, just like the land, we need rest. It helps us become calmer and it reduces our stress. It also lets our muscles repair and gets rid of wrinkles. Let's face it, this is a much cheaper alternative than spending hundreds of dollars on anti-wrinkle cream. After we have rested, we learn and do better at school and work. In the same way, the land produces more and better crops. My family have been resting our land, aka the garden, for a long time. But that doesn't give us a closer relationship to God. Synagogue to me is a place to go to think about God. As a bat mitzvah, I have been going to synagogue a lot in the past year. And while in synagogue, I have had a lot of time to think about why becoming a bat mitzvah is important to me. It is important to my mum and dad and my grandparents, and Thomas and Madeline did theirs, and I look forward to seeing Cecilia do hers. Being Jewish has been a part of my life since I was born. It has brought me closer to my relatives, and I have spent many Friday nights celebrating Shabbat with my family. I also enjoy all the delicious Jewish food we get to eat at various festivals. While we don't celebrate the sabbatical years anymore by resting the land, it is important to take times to rest ourselves, because we, just like the land, need times to refresh ourselves so we can achieve more things, like becoming a bat mitzvah. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And so we continue In our Torah, we will be continuing, Lauren will be chanting, and for this fourth Aliyah, we invite Kate and Margaret to come to Torah. Yamdu Miriam bat David Medina, Miriam bat Michel Revi'im l'Aliyah la Torah. You will find us at verse 44 and onwards, which is to be found at 949, page 949, left-hand column, second line, second word. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Amen.
ואהבתך וארמתך אשר יהיו לך מעץ הגויים אשר סביבותיהם מהם תקנו עבד ואמה וגם מבני התושבים הגרים עמהם מהם תקנו וממשפחתם אשר עמהם אשר הולידו בארצהם והיה לכם לאחוזה וכי נחלתם אותם לבניכם אחריהם לרשת אחוזה לעולם בהם תעבודו ובהם בני ישראל ישפכים לא תרדפו בחרם.
Amen.
Amen. Before I ask God's blessing upon you, I'd like to invite Patrick's family, so part of Lauren's family as well, to please stand, because what we want to do is acknowledge Patrick's family, to Patrick's side of the family, grandparents as well. So if you could please stand, and any cousins? There's a few cousins I know that are in the congregation. Oh, we're up there. You're at the back there. And so in this moment, as we ask God's blessing, may the God of our ancestors bless you, Kate and Margaret, as you are called to Torah, in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat, supported by your extended family, supported by the Quinn family. And you are called to really acknowledge that the roles that you all play within Lauren's life, and from what I understand, you are a very close holiday, a very close family. I was already onto my next thought, because from the Jewish side of the family, you celebrate the holidays and you celebrate the festivals with love and generosity, and on the Patrick's side of the family, you too celebrate the holidays and the festivals. They're just a little bit different, and bringing and honoring both sides of the tradition, which in a sense strengthens Lauren's identity and who she is as a young Jewish woman, knowing her place within her family. I also need to specifically mention Jane and Michael, Lauren's grandparents, and the roles that you play within Lauren's life. For Jane, sleepovers with all the cousins, and Michael, I guess you got the musical part of the family singing the musicals along with, and it's just to acknowledge that blessing in this moment of your roles. May you all go from strength to strength, and may family continue to be a blessing. And with God's blessing, we say Amen and Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. So for our fifth Aliyah, Lauren will continue laning, and we invite Ian and Guy to come to Torah. Ya'amdu David ben Shmuel, Diana bat Michel, Chamishim, l'Aliyah la Torah. You will find us on page 949, left-hand column, second line from the bottom, third last word. 949, left-hand column, second line from the bottom, third last word. Just point to where it is. Baruch Adonai mevarach leolam va'ed. Amen.
וכישוב עם קורנהו משנות ימח ולא עד שנת היובל והיה כסף ממכרו במספר שנים כימי שכיר יהיה עמו.
Amen. Mishaberach avotenu v'ham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'emotenu Sarah v'karachav aleh. May the God of our ancestors bless you, Ian and Diane, as you're called to Torah, in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat, and in honor of your granddaughter Lauren becoming a bat mitzvah in this moment. You have this very special relationship with Lauren, and the things that you do is a little bit different. But Ian, I've got to just say one thing that you whispered in my ear about Diane and her role, and appreciating how much that you do in terms of schlepping Lauren where she needs to be, when she needs to be. I know you do that for your other grandchildren as well, but that is something that is special because you get to have that one-on-one time and that time in the car, which is so beautiful. You appreciate her loves, which are ballet and cello and music, and how artistic she is, as well as her voice and musicality, and you said that. But together, it's just I can see the tears in your eyes, just appreciating how much Lauren means to you, and to be able to stand on the bima in this moment is something that is a true blessing. It's a real blessing, and with God's blessing, we say Amen, and may you have many moments like this again. Amen.
Mazel tov. And so for our sixth Aliyah, Lauren will continue laning, and we invite Yamdu Sarah bat Bedina veMatthias ben Sarah veRivka bat Sarah Shishim l'Aliyah laTorah. So Lauren's immediate family to come to Torah, and with them, here we are. You will find us on page 950, 950, right-hand column, bottom line, third word in. Baruch Adonai mevarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch atah mevarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Im od rabot bashanim לפיהן ישיב גאולתו מכסף מקנתו ואימאה נשאר בשנים עד שנת היובל וחישב לו כפי שנה בשנה ישיב את גאולתו כזכיר שנה בשנה יחיה עמו לא ירדנו בפרח לעיניך
ובניו עמו.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת, וחיי עולם אתה בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Mishaberach Avatena Vahamitzat B'Yakov Ve'imutenu Tzara V'Karakavle. May the God of our ancestors bless you as you're called to Torah, in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat, in honor of Lauren becoming a bat mitzvah. In just a moment when she reads from Torah. Cece, you're a little bit young to be called to Torah, but you're joining your dad in accompanying your mum and your brother and sister in celebrating this moment. And you shared with me what was so special about Lauren. And in a sense, you love hanging out, you love walking together, and you love just playing Lego. Lego, which apparently is the new hot thing on TV now. Do you watch it?
It is until you step on it.
And for Maddie, you shared that Lauren is just strong and amazing. And there was that beautiful moment at the rehearsal when you turned to Lauren and you said that. And you two sisters just really connected in that moment. I think there might have even been a tear or two. Just marking that. I know I said I wouldn't say anything about it, but you know, I can't resist. And for Thomas, you admire that Lauren is courageous and that she is determined. I'm glad that you're agreeing with yourself. For Patrick, the thing that you shared is that very much you appreciate how Lauren has developed her own mind. When she was younger, she kind of just went for the flow, but she's really taken her place within the family, not afraid to step up and to say what she thinks and to do what she thinks, which is something that is really, really important, because Lauren, you do have a little bit of competition around you. And for Sarah, you mentioned to me, and you mentioned as well to Lauren, that one of the things that you just love is how when Lauren gets excited about something, she just lights up. You can see that passion, you can see that enthusiasm and that energy, and her whole demeanor just changes with so much brightness. All of these parts, Lauren, that you've heard about, that your family shares and loves about you, is about you. It's about that moment. But this is about sharing the blessing for your family, for your parents, and for your brother and sisters. May you all only go from strength to strength as we celebrate this moment of Lauren becoming a bat mitzvah, and we say Amen and Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov. And then for our final aliyah, we invite our bat mitzvah. Damod, damod, damod. Ariel Matara, Nara bat mitzvah l'aliyah l'Torah.
Baruch Adonai U'Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai U'Barach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, ve'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Kili b'nei Yisrael, avodim, avodaychem, asher hotzeiti otam me'eretz Mitzrayim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Lo ta'asu, where am I? Lo ta'asu lahem elilim, ufesel u'matzeba, lo takimu lahem, va'even maskit. Lo titnu ba'artzachem, l'chishtahavot alecha, ki ani Adonai Elohechem. Et shabtotai tishmoru, u'mikdashi tira'u, ani
Adonai. It's key.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Ve'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. May the God of our ancestors bless you, Lauren, as you're called to Torah, in honor of God, in honor of Shabbat, and in honor of you becoming a bat mitzvah and taking your rightful place within our congregation, within our community, within your family, and amongst the Jewish people. Your name, your Hebrew name, is Ariella. Do you know what that means? It means Lion of God. And when I was thinking about how beautifully suited and how well your parents did when they chose that Hebrew name for you. Because when you think about it, your connection with God and the Jewish people is so strong. But what is a lion? A lion is strong, is determined, knows his, or a lioness knows her place within the world, and is beautiful both inwardly as well as outwardly. And with lions, they run in packs. And you've got your own herd over here behind you and within the congregation. But the thing for me, Lauren, that stands out about you is the heart in which you've embraced this journey, in which you embrace learning Torah and taking your place, has been so true and so strong. And I look forward to seeing you continue to grow and develop into the amazing young woman you are already. Because you're only going to, if I can say it, you're going to go from great to greater. And with God's blessing, we say that this is true. And I know that Rhonda and Michelle have both played a very important role within your family and in this process, and we'll share the Birkat HaKohanim.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and may God watch over you always.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May the light of God's presence shine through you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
And may God's presence always surround you with love and joy and gratitude, and always give you the most precious of blessings of shalom, of peace. And we say amen and mazel tov.
Simple tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simple tov, simple tov, mazel tov, simple tov, simple tov, mazel tov, simple tov, Elanu, 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 oh Israel, Elanu, Elanu, oh Israel, David Melech Israel, Kayekayam, David Melech Israel, Kayekayam.
And so in the presence of Torah, as we go from celebration to mourning to more celebration, and now to a time of healing and remembering those in our community who are in need of healing, healing of body, healing of mind, and healing of soul. And I invite you to turn to page 371. Annette French, Henry Gladwin, Anita Meany, Sue Brown, Rona Zinger, Aviva Bentata, Lindsay Epplinger, Margaret Cockram, Nisimiona Batnatan, Shmuel, Vanette Shelley, Or Ben Miriam Vayuval, Ira Bat Rachel, Bella Magid, Hannah Bat Dora, Mel Wright, Grigory Marshanovsky, Lydia Kostenko, Marsha Moore, Morris Mark, Douglas Simons, Rachel Carruthers, Fred Seligman, Diana Bliss, and Alon Shore. If you'd like to mention the name of a loved one out loud or in your hearts, I invite you to do so at this time. Blessed is God who brings healing and comfort to those who are unwell, and courage and strength to their caregivers, and we say Amen. Let us rise for Hagba and Galila as we lift and rest the Torah.
אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני וידוני
that complements the Torah reading and is thematically or sometimes just by words connected with the Torah portion. It comes from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 32, and you can find it in the Torah commentaries on page 1003.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'cha b'nvim tovim v'ratza b'divreihem ha'anemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah uveMoshe avdo uveYisrael amo uvinvieh ha'emet b'tzedek. Jeremiah said, "The word of the Eternal came to me. Your uncle Shalom's son, Hanam El, will come to you saying, 'Buy my land in Anatot, because you have the redemption right to buy.' And just as the Eternal had foretold, my cousin Hanam El came to me in the court of the guard and said, 'Please buy my land in Anatot, in the territory of Benjamin. You have the right of possession and the duty of redemption, so buy it.' Then I knew that this was truly the word of the Eternal. So I bought the land in Anatot from my cousin Hanam El. I weighed out the money for him, 17 shekels of silver. I wrote a deed, sealed it, and had it witnessed. I weighed the silver on the scales. Then I took the deed of purchase, the sealed copy containing the terms and conditions, and the open one, and gave the deed to Baruch son of Neriah and grandson of Maaseiah, in the presence of my cousin Hanamel, of the witnesses who had signed the deal of the purchase, and in the presence of all the Judeans who were present, and in the court of the guard. In the presence of them all, I gave Baruch this instruction. Thus says the God of heaven's hosts, the God of Israel. Take these deeds, both the sealed deed of purchase and the open copy, and put them in a clay jar, so that they will last a long time. For thus says the God of heaven's hosts, the God of Israel, houses, fields, and vineyards shall again be bought in this land. Then I prayed to the Eternal after giving the deed of purchase to Baruch son of Neriah. O eternal God, by your tremendous power and outstretched arm, you made heaven and earth. Nothing is too difficult for you. You act with love to thousands of generations, but make their children after them pay for the sins of their parents. You are the great and mighty God, whose name is the God of heaven's hosts, great in counsel and mighty in action, whose eyes are open to see all the ways of mortals, giving to all according to their ways and according to their fruit of their deeds. To this day you have worked signs and wonders in the land of Egypt, in Israel, and among the world's people. You have made your name renowned to this very day. You brought Israel, your people, out of the land of Egypt with signs and wonders, with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and with great terror. You gave them this land, the one you promised to give their ancestors, a land flowing with milk and honey. But when they came and took possession of it, they did not listen to you or follow your teaching. They did not do as you had commanded them, so you brought on them this trouble. Behold, the siege mountains have arrived to the city to capture it, and the city, because of the sword, starvation, and disease, is at the mercy of the Chaldeans who are attacking it. What you announced has happened. Now you look at it. Yet you, O eternal God, have said to me, buy the land for the money in the presence of witnesses, when the city is about to fall to the Chaldeans. Then the word of the Eternal came to Jeremiah. I am the Eternal, God of all flesh. Is anything too difficult for me? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el haneman, ha'mo'er ve'osech, ha'mdaber u'mekayem, she'kol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah, va'al ha'vodah, va'al hanabim, va'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מחדש השבת.
Amen.
My friends, we rise now for the prayer for our country and the state of Israel. We're on page 377.
We invite Elisa and Margaret to come and join us and share with us the prayer for the country and Israel.
Let us bless our country of Australia and all its people. Let us have dreams in this historic land of dreamers. Let the hot winds from the desert fire our imagination. Let the red soil of the plains keep us rooted to the things that matter. Let the waters of our rivers, lakes and oceans flow into our hearts, giving us depth and understanding. Keep our eyes open to the beauty of this land. May we strive to keep its beauty present and strong. Help us to remember those who have lived in this land before us and those who have made it their home in more recent times. May we never be lazy in the work for peace. May we honour those who have died in defence of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they lead with justice and compassion. Let our compassion be like the encompassing coastlines of our continent. May acceptance, kindness and peace live steadily within this ancient and enduring land. Amen.
Amen. And the prayer for Israel.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, Bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread it over the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Amen. Remain standing as we return the Torah to the Ark on page 374.
כי נזכר שמו לבדו, עולו על ארץ ושמיים, וירא קרן לעמו, והילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם גרומו, הללויה, הללויה. כי לקח טוב נתתי לכם, תורת ים תעזבו, את חיים היא למחזיקים בה, ותומכיה מאושר, דרכיה דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, קדש ימינו כקדם, כקדם, קדש ימינו כקדם. Please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. Lauren, today I think that you really captured in your participation in your service today of becoming a bat mitzvah of what it means to be Jewish and what it means to be a Jew here in Melbourne, Australia. You were born into a family that cares deeply about religion. On your mum's side, you are steeped in Judaism and progressive Judaism, and on your dad's side, his family is deep within the Catholic Church and Catholicism. But together your parents agreed to raise you and your siblings as Jews. And we thank you, Dad, I'm calling you Dad, for this gift of your heart and of your mind. And it's because of both of your parents that you stand here today, as you mentioned in your drush, when Thomas and Madison stood here too, and Cece will stand in just a few short years. We only have to look at the recent census to understand that people are feeling less connected with religion. In 2006, the Australian census showed that 18% of people had no religion. While in 2016, as we know the census is every 10 years, this rose to about 30%, if I read the census right. The question that I ask is, are people less religious? Well, the statistics definitely seem to show that. Or are they defining their spiritual beliefs differently? The Jewish community, while active and concentrated, hasn't really grown alongside the Australian population. Its numbers are steady, anywhere, and Andrew, you'll correct me, between 45 and 60,000, depending on how you count. Am I close?
In Melbourne.
In Melbourne, yes,
Yeah.
in Melbourne. Sorry, not the Australian, this is the Melbourne Jewish community. Andrew was one of the people who led the census for the Jewish community. Could one say that if the community isn't growing, the Jewish community isn't growing at the same rate as the Australian population, then perhaps the Jewish community numbers are decreasing? Perhaps. Our experience here at TBI is that people are wanting to stay connected with community, and they want to be part of something spiritual. But what we often see is that mainstream religion, and not just Judaism, or organized religion, is met with skepticism. Organized religion is seen as being too institutional, hierarchical, and its members are adherents of antiquated beliefs around social justice and sexuality. In many ways, I can't disagree with some of these views on how people view institutional religion or organized religion. But there are many things that I do completely disagree with. I don't think that religion was ever meant to be prejudiced or discriminatory. Religion was and is supposed to bring people together. While there may be differences in how people choose to practice their religion, it is there to help people facilitate a meaningful and thoughtful way to engage in life. And Judaism tries to do just that. Judaism provides a daily framework on how to live a life with meaning, and within that, ritual provides the framework and the structure to facilitate meaning. Just think of when a child is born, and the Brit Milah ceremony, the circumcision ceremony that is performed for a boy, or a welcoming ceremony, a Brit Bat for a girl, to bring these children into the community, into the covenant, or the rituals surrounding weddings, such as the breaking of the glass, or the chuppah, the canopy, or the 7 blessings, the Sheva Brachot, or even a Jewish funeral with the recitation of the Kaddish prayer, the tearing of clothing, and placing of sand into the grave, a ritual which I believe is also shared with the Catholic tradition. And of course, the bar, or the bat mitzvah ceremony, which marks a coming of age. I mentioned that the Melbourne Jewish community is diverse. So let me share with you a little bit about the Jewish community, and this is kind of history on one leg. So I can't cover everything, Sue Silverberg, of Australian Jewish history. The Australian Jewish community has a proud history here down under. 14 Jews, I believe, were amongst the convicts in the first fleet aboard the Bounty that arrived on the shores of what is now Sydney Cove in 1788. The convict, Esther Abrams, became the wife of one of Australia's first governors. Another Australian Jewish hero and statesman, General Sir John Monash, led the Allied forces in the First World War. The other Governor General, Sir Isaac Isaacs. And of course, we have a famous statesman who was a member of this congregation, the Governor General Sir Zalman Cowan of blessed memory. Most of the Jews who first came to Australia arrived initially from England, but there were waves of immigration from Russia, and certainly before the Holocaust and after the Holocaust, from Europe. People came seeking a new life, seeking a better life, or if they were convicts, they had no choice but to come here. And of course, some were sent here for stealing a loaf of bread. Notably, Melbourne has the largest number of Holocaust survivors outside of Israel. Australia opened its doors soon after the Holocaust, the Shoah, and many survivors wanted to get far away from Europe as possible. Most of the Polish survivors went to Melbourne, not all, but most, and the Hungarians went to Sydney again, most, not all. Because of I don't know what happened to the Germans, I think they came to Temple Beth Israel. Because of the very early Jewish involvement in Australian settlement and the number of highly respected and prominent Jewish personalities, anti-Semitism has been relatively minimal here. In 1947, Australia was the first country to vote in the United Nations for the establishment of the State of Israel. Today, Israel and Australia have very close relations in trade, research, and culture. And certainly, Bob Hawke of blessed memory was a great friend of Israel. That's not a political statement, by the way. All of this speaks to the parts of the diversity of the Melbourne Jewish community. but doesn't necessarily speak to religious diversity. Do you know how many shuls, how many synagogues they believe are here in Melbourne? Round about 70. Not all are like Temple Beth Israel, but some are like shtibels in people's homes, shtiblach as we call. And of that, only 4 are progressive, and there's 1 conservative, and 1 we could say humanist with kolenu. To be Jewish in Melbourne means different things to different people. For some, it's about having Shabbat dinner and perhaps attending high holidays, and for some, it's a deep love of Israel, an expression of Zionist identity. And for some, it's about religious observance. Lauren, I'm going to say something that's shocking. Did you know that you are a religious Jew? You go to shul regularly, and as you said, you've been here a lot in the last year. You're here on holidays and festivals, you're Jewishly engaged, you've been part of Jewish learning. The challenge that we face is that some people try to define what religious means by the level of observance. One's level of observance, to me, doesn't define what it means to be Jewish, or define what it means to be a mensch, a good human being. It just means, through one definition, that you're either good or not so good at observing the details of Jewish law, halacha, or Orthodox law. According to this definition, if you follow the laws accurately, then you're religious. If not, then you're not religious. But to me, being a religious person is about ethical and moral behavior. Being Jewish today, to me, begins simply with, and this is maybe oversimplifying it, how does one feel? Do you feel Jewish? And I think you could add in other faiths as well, if you identify with another faith. Then we add another question or layer. What do you do Jewishly that makes you feel Jewish? And from there we begin to understand what it means to be, to do, and to feel. To be Jewish today, as it's always been, means making the effort to be part of the Jewish community. For some, it's being involved in Maccabi or Ajax sports. For some, it's being a member of the Jewish Museum. For some, it's belonging to a community. And even for some, it's eating falafel and hummus or shawarma. But what needs to stand at the forefront of Jewishness are our Jewish values, and especially progressive Judaism. And our Torah portion today, Bahar, calls us to the essence of social justice, to how we behave as Jews, how we behave as people, to Jewish values. And I'm summing up, and I'm not covering them all, but the essence of what comes through is respect of people, because we're all made B'Tselem Elohim, in God's image. Respect and care for the environment, as you spoke about, Lauren, in talking about the Shemitah and the Yuval word. God made us custodians of the land, and it's our responsibility to care for it. Taking care of the elderly and the homeless is essential. Taking care of animals too. Ensuring that there is economic justice. Ensuring that people are treated fairly in the workplace. Ensuring that we don't use the land for our own gain. And another Jewish value is taking the time for studying, for learning, to further oneself to be educated, and becoming a bat mitzvah, Lauren, is part of that journey. So I commend you, Lauren, and your family in choosing to live a religious life, a life of spirituality. But mostly, I believe that what your family is doing comes very naturally to you. May we all find our spiritual path, and may we find it meaningful. Shabbat Shalom. Let us rise for Aleinu on page 586. Sisi?
עלינו לשבח לדור הכל, לתת ידו ליוצר ראשית, שהוא נתן שמיים ויוצר הארץ,
הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Remain standing as we turn forward in our prayer books to Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. For the week of Shiva, remember Victor Searle, George Shaw and Jack Wodak, and announce the passing and the laying to rest in the coming week of Rose Adler and Robert James Lee Hawke. For the Shloshim, the 30 days of mourning, remember Maria dos Años da Concierto Ribeiro, and Paulina Gershenson, Cyril Holzman, Laurie Gilbert Kay, Rosa Muriavia, and Solomon Norman. And of course, still part of the Shloshim are the lives senselessly taken in the Sri Lanka terror attacks. And the yard sites, the anniversaries of his death that fall on this Shabbat, we remember Marion Amselin, Sylvia Bauman, Lily Daskell, Reginald Elliott, Heinz Gartenman, Vaughan Hastings Goddard, Benno Goldband, Reginald Hayward, Herbert Israel, Isaac Kaplan, Rita Lee, Anthony Marks, Ernest Marks, Sophia Miller, Frederick Moore, Ethel O'Brien, Nathan Rose, Samuel Rosenberg, Shandel Rosenberg, Lionel Rosenfield, Frederick Schlesinger, Solomon Siegel, Ethel Sharp, Wolf Sharp, Morris Scheinberg, Gertrude Simmelman, and Luba Sloan. If you'd like to mention the name of a loved one for Shiva or Shloshim or Yahrzeit, the 7 days, 30 days, or year of mourning, the anniversary, I invite you to share their names at this time. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous be for a blessing as we join together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach Hirtei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yom echon, v'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'marur.
Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah v'rach le'olam al-maya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadal v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei d'Kedusha b'ribu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran v'yalma v'yimurur. Amen. Yehei shlam araba ben Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imur.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imur.
Amen.
Hamakom inachem etchem v'toch sha'ah, havlei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved in Zion, in Jerusalem, and around the world. And we say, Amen. As we are seated, Rebecca, our president, will make some announcements.
Thank you, Rabbi. And thank you, Cantor Lalum, Rhonda, Ellie, and Ari for your liturgy, and also Lauren and Sarah, Lauren's mum. Lauren, come and join me. Welcome, everyone, from the board, whether you're here for Shabbat, for celebration, or here in memory. Mazel Tov, Millie and Devorah, on your birthdays, and happy birthday, Judy. Welcome to the Queen and Islandberg families, and welcome Lauren's friends who are here from Siena College. Here we are. Mazel Tov, Lauren. What a great job you did leading the service. Your reading and your laning were just beautiful. And what a treat it was to listen to your voice and Rhonda's and your mum's as well. As Kim mentioned, Lauren, you have some deep family connections here at TBI. I understand your mother Sarah's grandfather, Michael Pearl, was a friend of Rabbi John Levi's. And your grandparents, Ian and Diane, have been members here at TBI for almost 50 years. And you followed in your siblings' footsteps by having your bat mitzvah here. You're in Year 7 at Siena College, and you told me your favourite subjects are science and English. And in addition to your schoolwork, you're busy playing the cello, you're part of a senior string orchestra, and outside of school you're going to 4 ballet classes every week, so no wonder there's quite a lot of schlepping from here to there going on. And with such a busy life, you told me that the hardest thing about your whole bat mitzvah journey was just finding the time to do the study and the practice. But clearly you did. And you said to me, the best thing was just all of it. And we can agree with that. Lauren, you're a very responsible and caring person with lots of natural talent. And I think you achieve whatever you set your mind to. And we can see the strong bonds that you have within your family. So whether you have a career in medicine, which you said you might like to do, or in the creative arts, or maybe both, I know that you'll bring happiness to many people. So I welcome you as our newest adult member, and here we have for you your bat mitzvah certificate. You can put that with all your other certificates, I'm sure you have many. We also have for you a voucher for the next NetSec camp, and a certificate of membership to the Union for Progressive Judaism, which is our roof body, and a book on our beautiful stained glass windows. And so that is for you, and we also have for you a Kiddush cup to use with your family on Friday nights. Mazel tov. A few announcements. Next Friday, we will have our pre-Shabbat drinks before services, so do come at 5:30 for drinks and snacks, hopefully in the courtyard, weather permitting, to unwind and get into the spirit of Shabbat. Do please diarise after services on Saturday the 1st of June. We will be hearing from Davir Abramovich from the Anti-Defamation Commission, and he'll be speaking to us about the rise in anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, so please don't miss that. Coming up, we have Shabbat, the 8th of June, already. So we will have family activities from 4:30, we will have services at 6:15, and then a wonderful evening starting at 7 o'clock. We will have our Tikkun Leil Shavuot with a really interesting panel discussing chosenness, and of course, as usual, we will have the famous TBI cheesecake competition. So that will be from 7 o'clock on the 8th of June, and then there will be services the following day on the 9th. Our wonderful security volunteers do a great job for us. Do please thank them on your way out. And on the 12th of June, there will be a course run by CSG, the Community Safety Group, on community safety. So whether you would like to just find out more about how they keep us safe, or perhaps get an introduction to how you can help with security, how to identify and report activity and that kind of thing, that will be here at TBI on the 12th of June at 7:30. I have a few music announcements. We will have a very special weekend on the 21st and 22nd of June when Yoel Sykes from Nava Tehillah in Jerusalem will be here. You can go online and listen to some of their music. They will be presenting a musical Kabbalat Shabbat on Friday the 21st, and then the following day a Havdalah concert, which will be song-filled and absolutely delightful, 21st and 22nd of June. And for those of you who like to join with others, celebrating Jewish music and learning new things, there will be a fantastic musical Shabbat retreat in Geelong, and you can join Cantor Loom and Ari on the 12th to the 14th of July, the Shir Hadash gathering. I'd like to thank Jackie and Dot for being our Shamashim today. I'd like to thank our laners, Peter, Millie, Rhonda, and of course Lauren. After the final song, to join us for Kiddush behind me in the Sloane Hall, kindly sponsored by the Islandberg family, and kindly return your books to the trolley. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And we do conclude with the words of Oseh Shalom B'Bramav. Uyaseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom B'Bramav.
שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Just also want to wish Devorah Mazel Tov again on reading Torah and becoming Bat Mitzvah. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Let's go in for Kiddush.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
Okay, Baruch Adonai, Yom HaShabbat Vayekadashehu, and God sanctified the Shabbat and called it a delight.
Sabri Mernan, Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen l'chaim. Baruch Ata Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom and B'teavon. Bon appétit. Shabbat Shalom.
Here, help. My charm off.